beep.
Didn't beep, did it? But it is recording though, bro. Look. Huh? 7, 8.
No. Okay, no worries. We can clip that if we feel like it. Here we go, Chapter 2. Sally and Billy hit Canada. Episode 1. Sally and Billy decided to keep heading in the direction they were going. They decided against stealing a car. They decided on hitchhiking. It took less than a minute to get a ride. A hairy-looking guy in a pickup truck traveling north on Interstate 93 on his way to Missoula. Frank Zappa was singing, "Going to Montana soon, gonna be a dental floss tycoon." The driver turned it down enough to talk. "Where are you going?" Sally decided a quick answer that might not be true was better than saying she didn't have a clue. "Canada, to see our Aunt Lilly." The hairy man looked at Sally and frowned. "You're in some kind of trouble." Sally and Billy thought he meant with him. He did have a shotgun in the back window. He noticed him get a bit edgy. "Not with me. I mean, I can see you are in some kind of a fix. I've been in fixes before, so I know what they look and smell like. You ain't gonna worry if it's with the cops. I ain't gonna rat you out." They drove for a few more miles, looking at the pleasant scenery before Sally decided on the truth. "We don't have an Aunt Lily. And she ain't in Canada either, I'd guess." The hairy man, hairy because he had long hair and a fairly long beard, held the steering wheel with his knee as he rolled a joint. "Helps me think." After he finally had it rolled, he put it between his teeth and took the steering wheel in hand. "I grow it myself. It ain't too strong, but it's free." He was talking a bit to himself and forgot there was a boy in the truck. "Either one of you smoke?" Sally and Billy both shook their heads. "Not for this ride." "Well, tell me your troubles and maybe we can sort them for you." Sally explained about escaping from a clinic and being followed by a helicopter, and the hairy man was so impressed he laid his joint in the ashtray and forgot about it. "First off, we gotta get those chips out of you or you're not gonna have no chance. I know someone." The hairy man was on a mission. He didn't show it in his expression, but he was having fun. A surprise adventure. When they got to the city center, the hairy man parked the truck in front of an animal clinic. Now don't be alarmed, an animal doctor gotta know as much about doctoring as a people doctor, and this one won't be reporting you on account he's my cousin. Sally and Billy followed the hairy man into the clinic. A bell rang when the door opened and again when it closed. Fuck me. Nobody was to be seen in the front waiting room, including no animals with their people protectors. "Be with you in a minute." "It's me, Ron! Jimmy, come on back!" Ron almost cut the balls off a dog when he looked up and saw Sally. Sally thought she had scared him with her fish head because her brain still wasn't quite up to speed on the understanding that she wasn't that little girl anymore. You have to excuse Ron. He don't see many pretty women in his job, hardly even in this town. Sally managed not to blush too much. "This here is Sally and her brother Billy. They got a bit of some urgent trouble and I've told them you're gonna help them." "They got a sick cat?" Ron finished making a eunuch of the dog, not really, but that's what he thought of the operation, and put him back in his cage before throwing his rubber gloves into a garbage bin. They's got tracking chips in them, and I don't like who's tracking them. Or they don't like it. What, you been tracked now? What kind of cops you got on you?" "Relax, Ron. They think they are dead, so we got some time." "Okay. Maybe we got time. Most likely in your hands or arms, if you're lucky." Jimmy left them to it and went out front to have a look out the window. Watch out for any shady looking characters that didn't belong looking about. As far as Jimmy could tell, there was nothing amiss. There were a few old people walking up the other side of the street, but they looked like they weren't in a hurry to be looking for runaways. Jimmy checked the sky to see if any drones or helicopters were zoning in. He wondered who Sally and Billy were. What were they up to? And who was after them? Ron started with Billy, running his thumbs over Billy's hands and up his arms for a few seconds. Here it is. It ain't deep, but I do have to cut you. Billy nodded. After growing new limbs and having his skull rebuilt, a little cut was nothing. He watched Dr. Ron clean the spot with a smelling of alcohol cotton ball and put orange stuff on the area, then put a little slice of that spot on, and with the tweezers pulled out the small chip and put it on the tray. Billy examined the chip. He wanted to keep it, but put it back on the tray. Ron repeated the procedure with Sally, knowing where to look for the chip. Don't go swimming for a couple of days and leave the tape on. It will hold the skin together so the scar won't be too much at all. Jimmy came back and pocketed the chips. Thanks, Ron. I'll call you. We'll smoke a bag of grass on the weekend. Maybe drink a beer. Sounds good. Yes, thanks, Ron, for your help. Ron put his hand on Billy's shoulder. Happy to help. Just one thing. Money? No, Christ. Just wanted to tell you that those chips were easy to find. They didn't have to be. Okay, I get your meaning. Thanks again. When they got out to the street, Jimmy noticed a cat picking at some fish bones it had ripped out of a garbage bag. He took his knife out as he patted the cat. Nice kitty. Don't your owner feed you? The cat purred as Jimmy put a small slice in its collar and wedged the chips in. Now best we get you on your way. Someone might be looking for those chips. So the cat went casually on its way and the people climbed back into Jimmy's pickup truck and headed toward the station.